Yeah.
I'm addicted to the thrill. It's a dangerous love affair. Victories within the mile. Almost there, don't give a
So, you know what we're going to do? See you in Fayetteville. See you in Fayetteville. March my night.
No goodbye. Natty. It's a buzzer.
This town tonight.
Now, entering Natty State Studio, the sports media palace of Mid-America, the Wolf of Center Street. Here's your host, John Nabors.
And welcome into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I am your host, John Nabors, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, as we have a lot of things to get to today here on this beautiful Monday. And man, oh man, is it going to be an electric one, because a lot of you are probably just tuning in, probably seeing the news, probably seeing the news break. And we're going to talk about that from the Razorback basketball perspective and some of the moves that will be made there. We'll also talk about the weekend for the Razorback baseball team. Didn't go according to plan necessarily, but still had some takeaways, if you will, to dive into from that. So we will do that. And we're also, of course, going to get into all your messages, all of your phone calls. If you want to get on the conversation, it's very simple to do. It's 936-246-2889. That is the phone number that if you want to call in. And here later in the show, we'll see how it goes. Later in the show, we are going to do an experiment, I guess, where a lot of you have been asking about how we can maybe do video chatting. If you want to get in instead of like calling in or just messaging in, you can actually have your face and voice be heard on this show. And we're going to experiment with that. And I'll give you details on it. Basically, what it's going to need to be is you are going to have to follow me on Twitter at John Nabors Show. I'm going to send out a link. You click on that link. It'll put you into the waiting room, and then we'll see about actually getting you on. Depends on what type of mood I'm in, what type of stuff that you guys are throwing around too. But I'll consider it. I'll consider it at least. So either way, what a great weekend. What a great weekend, and weather was pretty crazy. And looks like the weather might be a little bit dicey here in the area, but overall it's going to be a great weather week. And it was really met with some great news that happened to transpire just a few hours ago. And for those of you who listen to the pod at the Palace, you probably heard all about it, where John Calipari and the Razorback basketball team were able to add another one into the mix for Razorback basketball in his ADOU THIERO. I've been working on that name the entire time. Thanks to Curtis and Scotty, I bid you adieu. Adieu. That's how you go. And THIERO. The 6'8", 222-pound forward officially pledged his Razorback commitment. And he also recently completed his sophomore season and was in Fayetteville this past week. And he is also one of the former Kentucky Wildcats to join the Razorback team under John Calipari, along with Big Z. But what THIERO told ESPN said, quote, "I started with Coach Cal and want to see it through with him. Very excited to join the family and ready to get to work." He entered in the portal back on March 28th. And he also is from Pennsylvania. He averaged 7.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1 assist per game. He was a sophomore this past season. He also scored double figures in 5 different games and recorded a 16-point, 13-rebound double-double against Kansas in the Champions Classic back in Chicago on November 14th. He was the number 60 overall player in the transfer portal. And he had missed last season 7 straight games, 6 in SEC play because of back soreness. He agreed to go to Kentucky over Xavier, as well as Duquesne, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Maryland, and other programs involved. And he is, people are really excited about him, and rightfully so. In fact, I'm going to have a few highlights playing in the background during this. But, you know, he is a player that I'll admit, like, I know he was in the mix, and I know he was a player that people were considering being a big-time deal for all intents and purposes, as far as what type of impact that he could have immediately on the Razorback basketball team, and how Cal is going to be able to approach him and bringing him in and getting people hyped up and excited about him. But, like, I got text messages from people that would be a little bit surprising, you'd say. Media members. Some media members from the state of Kentucky and other media members from national perspectives and national landscapes too. And what was so impressive about it is that all of them were very complimentary. All of them were very much in support and felt like that this was a huge get for Arkansas. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because these are the same people that have either tried to find ways to where they downplay what Cal's doing at Arkansas, downplay the players, play all of that. But this is something that when you got people from outside the perspective of people getting excited about everything that Arkansas has been doing, and then adding it into the mix of people who are unbiased and wanted to be able to showcase what they kind of think about Calipari and the job that he's done and also the type of people that they're bringing in, it really puts it into perspective that you have 7 players now on this roster. You're over half done with the roster. And this is the type of player that, if he stays healthy, being the most important thing, can really be that nice little extra puzzle piece. Not saying that he's going to be the best player on the team, not saying he's going to be a player that goes into the NBA and ends up being a huge draft pick or anything like that. But what it will be able to do is add in a guy that wants to just come in and go to work and play for Cal. I don't mind it of it being where he's from in Kentucky and, you know, whatever it took to get him here to Arkansas. You know, we could sit here and argue all day long about what he could be or what potentially you want him to be. But at the same time, you're going to need players that are just guys. They're just dudes. Guys that go out there and are not going to set the world on fire in the box score, be able to score a bunch of points, but glue guys. Maybe that gets thrown around a lot too much. Maybe it's a little bit, I don't know, Magoo and lame and all that. But, like, this is a guy that if you're a Razorback basketball fan, you have to get to know. You have to understand it, and you have to see what he is capable of. I mean, his size, his length, his athleticism. I mean, all of that involved has been nothing short of awesome. Like, that's what you want to have. And because of that perspective, I think that it's something to get excited about. I'm excited about it. I kind of felt good about THIERO being the guy that would be the next one to pop for Arkansas. I felt like he's the type of player, he's exactly the player that Arkansas needs right now, of just being a dude that complements the other guys. You know, may not average a double-double every single game. It'd be nice if he did, but kind of fine with his role. He's heading into his junior season, his 3rd year. So, given the circumstances of all those things, it just seems to make sense to me why this guy got added. And Arkansas is not done yet. They're going to continue to try to add more and more and more until they can't anymore, until they get to that scholarship limit. But there are going to be guys that, just to be honest, folks, there are going to be guys that get added, and you're going to be like, who is this guy? Why do I care about this guy? Like, what does he do? What does he give us? Well, you can't get spoiled. Razorback fans are a little bit spoiled right now, but you can't get too spoiled. You got to keep it all into perspective. Like, I made the joke that it seems as soon as a player commits, Razorback fans are like, excellent, who's next? You know, you're like at Christmas with the family and your kid. You open it up, and it's something you've wanted. It's something. It's a thing of toys that you wanted. It's that Batmobile that you were always wanting as a kid. And you open it up, and you're like, yes, this is awesome. Can't wait to play with it later. Throw it across. What's next? And that's the feel that it is. It's like, what's next? Give me something more. My thing is you gotta be able to enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the build. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the type of team that Calipari is building, because let's be honest, right now, this is exactly the type of team that you were hoping that he would build. This is exactly the type of team that you're hoping that would see on the floor next season for the Razorbacks. So just enjoy it. I actually saw John Rothstein's tweet that Curtis Wilkinson just retweeted, and I put it, and I retweeted as well, where John Rothstein says, John Calipari has quickly built a veteran foundation at Arkansas with John L. Davis, Jonas ADOU, and ADOU THIERO. Nailed it. He has Arkansas, the Razorbacks, officially have climbed to number 13 in the Rothstein 45, as he puts it. The Rothstein 45. So now you are enjoying yourselves, right? No problems, no complaints, no arguments, no nothing. Bring them all on, I say. Bring them all on. I still don't believe that there's any reason for anybody to doubt that this team is going to be one of the best teams, talent-wise at least, the very minimum, in the entire country. I don't believe that there's any reason to think that this team is going just to continue to get better, continue to add pieces to the mix, and continue to be something we all look forward to. Some of us kind of feel like, oh, man, just get us to forget football season. Skip that. Let's get the basketball season. I mean, I don't think that that's everybody, but because there has been some news with football, by the way, which we'll talk about, and then picking up another commitment for Arkansas. But overall, it's just you got to be feeling good as a Razorback fan where it kind of at least is going your way. Off-season wise, you got to go out there and on the court and you got to win games, but off-season wise, you're feeling pretty good. Feeling like it's all coming together according to plan exactly. You're getting the players that you want. Doesn't mean you'll get all of them, but just enjoy the process and the way that it's going right now. So what do you think? What do you think of getting a player like THIERO? What do you think of the current roster for the Razorback basketball team? I want to hear from you. Call in 936-246-2889. 936-246-2889 is the number to call in here on the show. But I'm also really excited, folks, before we get to those phone calls as well as some of your messages, I wanted to bring this up that we have a new partner here on the John Nabors Show as well as across Natty State Sports, and it's BroThr. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, what in the world is BroThr? Well, I'm telling you, if you haven't heard of it yet, you're going to hear from it a lot because it is an awesome web app that is able to be first of its kind. It's free to use social sports where you use it on their betting web app, and it's powered by a community of bettors. BroThr uses complete chaos, but also so much fun when it comes to sports betting because that's what it can be. But it's organized, it's leveled, and it's fun. All the users that use it compete directly with each other by throwing out bets to friends or to group mates or to a broader community, all to accept. So here at Natty State Sports, we do have an official group that you can check out and be a part of, and you can just go to brothro.com/natty, or you can go to brothro.com and use the promo code, the invite code of Natty, Natty, and it is free to use, completely free to use. It's unique, it's innovative, and if you want to know more about how to learn how to play it and everything, be able to go check out at brothro.com. You can see exactly what they have going on, and it's fun to be able to bet against your friends because that's really what it comes down to. Bet against the Natty State sports community. You'll have sports games going on, and you'll see the lines, and it's very connected to your Venmo account, however you want to do it. And you say, hey, I'm going to be betting this at -2.5, but your buddy feels like it's going to be +2.5, so you go up against each other. It's a really cool deal. Very innovative and very ahead of its time, and we're excited to have BroThr being a part of the John Nabors Show as well as Natty State Sports. So go check it out at brothro.com/natty, or go to brothro.com and enter in the invite code, promo code of Natty. That's Natty, and we'll be telling you more about that as the show goes on. So, again, appreciate it, everybody that's been watching and listening, and we'll get to your comments in a second, but let's go to phone lines. I believe this is Ron in North Dakota. What's going on, Ron?
Well, not much. We're finally getting warm.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I don't know what the temperature is usually like up there, but it doesn't seem ideal. What was that?
What? I just was wanting to call in because ever since Musselman left, I've been listening to you and Pod at the Palace, and just really appreciate the way you keep on top of things and letting people know about what's going on with all sports at Arkansas.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you listening. That's one of the fun things that we get to do. One of the many fun things we get to do here at Natty State is be creative and be on top of everything and be able to react to it in real time, just like the rest of you. So it's been a great ride, and the way we've grown, and it's been incredible. So yeah, we're just sticking with it and keeping it going and keeping it growing.
I graduated from U of A in 1983.
Very nice. So
The
you're
height
one of
of
the
the
residential
or the
Razorback
end of
fans
it.
up there?
Yeah, the end of the Lou Holtz era.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, could have been worse. You could have graduated during the Chad Morris era.
Yeah, I suppose. I've always kept following, and that was a disaster. It seemed like.
Needless to say, yes, an epic failure of epic proportions.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, Ron. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening in all the way up to North Dakota. Call back anytime. That's the thing that we do that's also really cool is we have a reach to Razorback fans everywhere. Like that's what we want. We want to be able to have every Razorback fan make us the hub for keeping up on the latest and greatest things that are happening in Razorback land. So appreciate you calling in. Let's say a few people here in the chat. We'll get to it. Jeez, thanks, Christie's. I'm not going to read that, but thank you. Marquis says it reminds him of Jordan Walsh. That's what you're trying to say. Yeah, Jordan Walsh for them. Yeah, I mean, that could be kind of a comparison. He's got the length. He could be really good defensively, too. So Thomas says, Lawson Blake is still the man. Give Lawson Blake a scholarship. I don't know if he's going to get a scholarship, but it'd be cool if he came on the team as well as from last season and stuck with it and was able to have a role. I'm really hoping for him, really rooting for him. But at the end of the day, I keep saying it, Calipari's going to get who Calipari wants. And if Calipari wants Lawson Blake, great. And if he doesn't, then I guess we'll see what he wants to have part of it. Jeremy says, definitely looking like a dream team now. John, who's next? I don't know. I don't know. I know they got a lot of guys that are into the mix. I know they got a lot of guys that they're going to be recruiting not only for this upcoming season, but geez, it's even got guys that are possible commits for the 2025 season. 5-star players even. I was going to pull this up. I guess was it Darius Acuff, I believe, is visiting. Not mistaken. 5-star player, not bad. Number 1 point guard in the class, not bad. Number 4 player overall, not bad. Offers to Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Alabama. Looks like Arkansas and Kansas are in the biggest mix there. So, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's what it was. Official visit will be on May 10th. So this weekend. That's nice. I know we're talking about this year, right now, all this year, but that's still pretty cool that they're still trying to get out there and recruit guys and get ahead of it. But that would be a nice little get if they were able to make that happen. Let's see. Geez, some y'all's comments are terrible. Dwayne Christopher says, I'm from Lexington and hate it because we lost Coach Cal, but I see the Hogs are really going to be good this year and make a run in the March, probably winning a championship. He gets the best kids. Don't know if that's trolling or not, but nice. Dwayne, appreciate you watching in. One of the very few that feels that way. Heartbroken Hawk says, did John talk about the new football transfer yet? I have not. I will get into that, though. I will get into that. I promise. Because that is something I think that's not only just talking about that particular thing, but talking about just what it means in the grand scheme for transfers and for players that are coming in. By the way, I feel naked out here. I forgot my laptop. I was doing some work over the weekend. I forgot it in my house, so I don't even have my laptop in front of me. I'm using the other computer over here too, so I'll make it work. So any information, I got to use the other computer to try to look up there as well. Let's see. I don't know who this is, so we'll just roll with it, right? Why not? Let's go ahead and see. Let's see what happens. From the 859, what's going on, 859?
Hey, John, how's it going? You got me?
I got you, buddy.
A good deal. I called a couple weeks ago with a little bit of hesitation on the Calipari hire. I'm a Razorback in Lexington. I don't let that area code get you confused. But I know that basketball team's been all the hype with the new additions and a complete rebuild, but I'm still kind of high on this baseball team. I just went to the 3-game series. I thought it was funny. I watched your Locked On podcast from earlier today. The attendance was hilarious because every single one of the actual seats in the stadium was sold out, and over half of them were empty all weekend long. But in terms of finishing out this season against a couple really tough SEC opponents, they seem to have been leaving a lot of runners on base. Do you think start playing some more small ball? Because I don't know if swinging with, less than 2 outs and runners on base is quite getting the job done for these guys. They have a good lineup and the pitching's there, but I don't know, the left on base is a little silly.
Yeah, I have been always very concerned about that element of this team because I don't want to say that they're perfect because they're not, but that certainly seems to be the biggest issue that could change so much. And even over the weekend, I was looking at the numbers. When Arkansas beat them pretty handedly in game 1, Arkansas left 11 players on base. Then they left 9 players on base and then 11 players on base, respectively, in all 3 games. So it didn't end up being as impactful to you in game 1 because you were able to get those guys home. But when you're talking about scoring 3 runs with 9 players on base, and Kentucky scores 11 runs with only 7 left on base, kind of a telltale sign. And even take it to the game when Kentucky won 7-4, Kentucky left 6 on base, scored 7 runs. Arkansas left 11 on base and scored 4 runs. So it's a concern, man. I don't want to sit here and sugarcoat it and say it's not, because it is. I don't think losing this series, though, is a make or break terrible deal. For crying out loud, LSU lost to Texas, or Texas A&M lost to LSU. And that really helped Arkansas out in the West, and Arkansas still just 1 game out. It was frustrating. It was problematic that you weren't able to get more consistency from your offense. But not being able to – because here's what also frustrates me, man, is that you get guys on base. Because in order to leave guys on base, you have to get them on base. So they get guys on base. I know they're capable of it. They just don't get them in to score. That game on Friday was one of the better games I saw. It was beautiful because it's like they actually took care of business and got the offense going. That's what you were hoping to see, but it's just you want to pull your hair out the amount of times that bases are loaded or there's runner at the corners or, you got men on second or third and with 1 out, and then you leave with a huge goose egg. That's just a huge problem, and it's a very frustrating thing.
Yeah. I completely agree. I also feel like, based on what I saw this past weekend in person, it doesn't really seem like they're incredibly aggressive, even with base runners on. We don't see, or at least I haven't seen many stolen base opportunities. I know there was one that we had. I remember a ball got to the backstop, and I can't remember a runner on first or second, but with a chance to move, whether it was in scoring position to a better scoring position or from first into scoring position, they still didn't take that chance. I kind of want to see some more base running aggressiveness too, whether that's incorporating small ball into stolen bases or whether it's just outright attempting to steal bases. But I don't know if there's just a lack of speed or lack of courage or what.
Yeah, I want to see it too, man. You go back to your point about small ball. I'm a big fan of small ball. I know there was a time where it felt like it was boring, but if you want to be a well-rounded team, take advantage of it. If you're a team that's been struggling offensively to get runs and you feel like playing small ball, sacrifice bunting, whatever it's going to take to get the runners to advance, if that's going to help you, then do it. You got to be able to do everything. I just don't think this team is a very good base stealing team. I'm not trying to be insulting, but I just don't know if they have the speed and athleticism to be consistent at it. So there's plenty of greatness about this team, and there's plenty of I still think the team's fine. I still think the team's it's good enough to make it to Omaha. They're good enough to be a national seed. I still think they're good enough to win it all because they do have the pitching to go along with it. But these final 2 series, you got to go 3-3. You got to win 1 at least, and you do that, you're a national seed, and that's really what matters. But I just want to see this offense find ways to manufacture runs instead of, oh man, we're in good position here, and you end up with goose eggs because there's no, especially when you get to postseason, pull out all the stops and do whatever you can do because you just can't keep doing this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're in great shape as a baseball program, especially going into this season with the rotation that this postseason with the rotation that we've got. I think you're pretty much a hammer on the nail. And last point I'll make, I just really want to see these guys create some chaos. I mean, if you're going to go up against teams that are going to be aggressive on the base paths, then you've got to create your own chaos and, I mean, basically confuse the fire out of the opponent, whether it's actual confusion or they're just seeing something from you that they haven't seen on film before. But anyways, John, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it. And I really enjoy the show, by the way.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, and appreciate you being our boots over on the ground in Lexington, man. It takes a special individual to be able to do that. But yeah, the baseball team, it's, I was going to wait and talk about it here in a bit, but since it got brought up, this team's 40-9. Okay, they're 40-9, and those that want to be critical of things about this baseball team, have at it. I probably agree with you. I'll be critical about particular things like runners being left on base, the inconsistent offense, all of that, fine. But seeing some of the reactions when Arkansas lost this series to one of the best teams in the SEC, as well as the country, on the road, you would have thought that this team lost to Missouri at home. People were telling me and tweeting, oh, this team's cooked. They suck. Wish a national seed goodbye. And I'm like, shut up. My brothers. Like, that is just, y'all are insane. You got to stop. People have got to relax on the overall craziness of their takes. Like, I get that if you want to be concerning and you want to have criticisms, that's one thing. But to just fly off the handle and think that this team's trash when they're 40-9 leading the West in the SEC, y'all are sniffing glue. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get to the football talk, folks. I promise. We'll get there in a second. Let's see. And Arkansas just picked up another football commitment transfer, and we'll talk about that here in a second, too. A lot of stuff happening. So we'll get to that. Actually, I guess we can go ahead and we'll talk about your chat. We'll get to your chats, and I'll talk about the football side. Everybody's being very sarcastic in there. Wonder Bread says, is pitching there, though? It seems to me that day one pitching is great, but beyond that, it seems to be getting a bit more concerning. No, the pitching is there, folks. Like, you're not going to have a great game every outing. You're not going to be perfect out there every game. But it's about the collective. Like, Hagen Smith's incredible, right? We all know that. The dude had 14 strikeouts and 31 whiffs. Stupid numbers. But then there's times, like we see, this is what makes pitching great. There's times, we see Will McIntyre come in and he's awesome. But there's been times, kind of like what he had over the weekend in Game 3, where he struggled. Gage Wood has been really good at times. There's been times when he struggled. Brady Tigert, times where he struggles. But we've also seen him be really good. Mason Molina, times where he struggled. But we've seen him be good. Gabe Gackle, same thing. The point is that, yes, I would love every single college pitcher on this team and this roster to be money every game. Every game that they go out. But that's just not realistic. It's just a matter of, okay, can you control the damage enough to be able to give it off to the next guy to where they can come in and do some stuff? Because, again, Hagen Smith's the only one that we have seen money from. But most of these guys, the high percentage of it, have been great. Like, I'd say Brady Tigert's been great more often than not this year. Mason Molina's been great more often than not this year. Same thing with the guys out of the bullpen. They've been great more often than not. But sometimes you're going to struggle. Can you play the right time? Can you be at your best at the right time? That's what's important. Not to mention the fact that you had, a guy like Hagen Smith that's setting you up to where you can win game one each and every time. That's how I feel about it. Lone says, is the basketball commit talk over? No, it's not over. We just answered a call that we want to talk baseball. That's all. If you want to talk on the phone, folks, I'm going to do this video thing later in the show. I promise. I can't imagine how that's going to go. But if you want to talk about basketball, you want to talk about the new commit, you can do so in the chat. You can also call in at 936-246-2889. You do that, and we'll talk more about it too, and get a lot more interactions from y'all as well. But there is some other things that we'll talk about. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to those comments and to some of the news going on for football and for basketball. Somebody was breaking in saying that, hey, the news there's big breaking news there too. So I'm going to have to catch up on the Twitter machines and kind of figure that out if that's actually the case or not. But we will talk about that here in just a second. But I want to bring up, of course, our friends over at Alumni Hall. We love Alumni Hall. And when it comes to all of your Razorback apparel, they're the only place that you would need to go, because no place is going to have the amount of inventory that they do, the amount of selection that they do, especially when it comes to the high-end clothing. Talking about for men, women's, children's, and kids, everybody. You're going to be able to go in there and you're going to see not only the stuff that the Razorbacks wear, but we're talking about high-end Columbia, Nike, Peter Millar, Johnny O, Southern Tide. They have all those to choose from. And your selection is limitless because they always have inventory. It's a big store right there in the heart of Fayetteville. And when you check them out in their store, you're going to be blown away by the amount of great things that they have going on. But say you can't make it over there. Say if it's a little tough for you to get to that point, that's okay. Because if you go to the website, nattystatesports.com/alumni hall, you can shop them online and have all of your purchases delivered straight to your door. It's that simple. So go to nattystatesports.com/alumni hall, and you can be a part of the ultimate Razorback shopping experience with those at Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to more of your phone calls, more of your messages, and more of the breaking news and the great news going on in Razorback sports. So stay with us here on the John Nabors Show, live from Natty State Sports Studios.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied because we not done.
Hey John, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrats. I had a two-parter if that's okay. You mentioned Arkansas. Eric.
Why do you always talk about Arkansas? But go ahead.
Well, why do you always talk about Kentucky?
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you today. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
I'm so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potato. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
Welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. And we'll get to some of the news going on with football. I just saw that the Razorback basketball Twitter account made it official for ADOU THIERO. I'm going to keep smiling every time I get the name right because it's a big step for me. It's a big step for me. But they tweeted out, they just said, "You are an Arkansas Razorback," as he's officially signed. So cool. Nice. Excellent. Love it. Making it official as much as possible. Making it official. The big news for Arkansas as they continue on there. I want to remind everybody, too, Thursday, we're going to be at Tin Roof here in Fayetteville on Dixon Street. Great turnout that was happening last week, and can't wait to do it again. The weather's going to be perfect. I think it's 77 degrees and sunny. We're going to be out on their back patio where they have a great setup, and we're going to be on stage there. We're going to have some appearances from some big names, some student athletes. So be sure to come on out if you can make it. It's going to be a great time. But also tomorrow here on the show in studio, Razorback running back Rashad Dabinian is going to be joining us. Looking forward to catching up with him, talk a little spring practice and about his whole spring of how things have gone for him personally, as well as what he feels about the team and everything. So really looking forward to making that happen. All right, let's see. I want to keep the basketball talk going because we got a phone call coming in right now. I think it says Mr. Worley. We're going to roll with it. What's up, man?
Oh, yeah, it's Mr. Worley, man. But, yeah, I'd like to talk about the transfer portal, the new hires. I would say ADOU THIERO is an amazing recruit. He's like the type of player, you know, he's not a superstar, but he's like the type of player that is good for a team. He's good consistently. He's a good team player, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
would you agree with?
Yeah, I think that's something that I think maybe doesn't get applauded enough. Some people just want to see, all right, what's his stats, what's the numbers, how good is he? Like, oh, give us this, and if it's not, you know, the type of player that's averaging a double-double, then they move on. It's like, no, you have to have players like that. You have to have players that have that role. And again, I talked to my buddy Bobby Regan of Barstool Sports. I know Razorback fans feel a certain way about him, but he texted me. He's like, hey, that's a nice kid. He's like, he really likes him and really likes what he could add into the team as long as he stays healthy. So no, I think that it's a phenomenal get and something that I think fans need to be excited about, where not just looking at the box score, but looking at the intangibles and what he could do besides just filling up the box score.
Yeah, and hey, you know, Arkansas, you know, they have two ADOUs now. They have ADOU THIERO, and they have the other ADOU.
Yeah, like I asked.
Yeah,
I asked Scotty and Curtis about that. So apparently, according to them, and if I'm wrong about this, go hate tweet them. But apparently, it's Jonas ADOU and ADOU THIERO. So there's ADOU and ADOU. Not confusing at all, and I'm sure John George will nail it. So, yeah, got two guys that have two really close-sounding names, and I'm sure nobody will ever get screwed up.
Yeah. What a coincidence. And look, going forward in the transfer portal, you know, I know Arkansas, you know, they're trying to go after these big point guards. They need a point guard. I would say, I mean, we lost out on Devon Smith. That's fine, you know. But if I look at, you know, the other point guards in there, it's like, okay, DJ Wagner, and even going down the line, Leighton Blocker, they would not be bad additions. And here's the reason why. You look at Kentucky's team. Now, they've added some recruits, they've added some shooters, but they went straight for Lamont Butler. And the reason I think Mark Pope did that is he's looking at his ball handling skills. He has a low turnover rate and a high steal ratio. I'm thinking Arkansas, I think they would do good to maybe not, you know, just go for like maybe DJ Wagner or Leighton Blocker. Those two guys, out of the point guards that are left in the portal, they actually have relatively low turnover rates. Even though they're new, I think Arkansas would do good to add one of them, you know.
Yeah. No,
what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think point guard, as we know, is extremely crucial and important. I know that, you know, guys like the mix, you mentioned even a Leighton Blocker, which I've said it before about the players that, you know, used to be on Arkansas squad, which we'll talk a little bit updates there with your Arkansas update here in a bit. But if Leighton Blocker ended up being on the team, that's not like a bad thing. It's just, I don't know if you're wanting to make him the one that you have to rely on, the one that's like, hey, you got to be able to be the guy. But I think it'd be a really nice backup, a guy that could, be able to spell a little bit from the point guard too in that position. But I do look forward to whoever it ends up being. I do look forward to having a point guard that is a true distributor, because you've had guys that have been decent at it, but man, it would be so nice to have a guy that their role is just making the offense go and flow and being the quarterback of it and setting up the offense, being that leader, bringing it up and down the court. I would just love to see that type of poetry in motion along with the heavily talented guys. And if it's somebody like Wagner, if it's whoever, I want to see that at that position. And hopefully Calipari can find a way to get one of those guys, because they need a point guard, and they're going to be in good position to get some good guys. But I want to see that position get filled here quickly.
Oh, yeah, a ton of assists. Now, there is Kaderi Richmond, and I know they're trying to get this guy. Now, assuming they don't, and they could because they've surprised us, but assuming they don't, now DJ Wagner, he wouldn't be a bad get after that, I think.
Yeah.
But, my opinion. Yeah, just my 2 cents. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the options. It's like the transfer portal is always large for a lot of great players to come through and ones that you go after and everything. But, sometimes it's just other guys end up going elsewhere, or other guys that may not be able to fit, whatever it ends up being. But I still think that there are options out there that they could be able to add in right now and make them better. But who knows what even the rest of the roster is going to hold. I mean, it could be something that they add somebody that, went into the NFL or NBA draft combine and they didn't get what they wanted. They come back out. There could be a lot of different options there, but I'm hoping that whatever the next, I'll take all the players, but if they can add in another great point guard, then sail me out to sea. That'll make sense to me.
Yeah, there's probably a lot that I'm not even thinking about, man. They'll probably add some surprises with a new one, but yeah. But anyway, good chat, and have a good day.
Thanks, Mr. Worley. You as well. I don't know if it was Worley or Furley, but it came across as Worley in the call thing. But yeah, appreciate it. I hope that they add the point guard. I hope they add that. Poultry in motion, yes. Forkenstein says yes. Poultry in motion. Chicken Man, Tyson Man. Poultry in motion. Yeah, they got to add the point guard though. That's key. That's key. Okay, so I do want to talk about some football, right? People have been blowing me up about the football team, which I do want to talk about it because we're going to be, again, having Rashad Dabinian on our show tomorrow, which is going to be cool, talking with him. And talking about his journey, too, not only his his football life, but also in the life of what it's like being a student athlete and with his family and all that, too. So we'll talk about that. But we'll also get to your Arkansas update, which, of course, is presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owner's insurance agency, securing what matters the most. And for your Arkansas update, the Razorbacks were able to add in a couple of transfers from the football side of things. Just recently, they were able to get a transfer wide receiver out of South Florida, Afre Brown. I'm hoping I say his name right. Again, until I get the pronunciation sheet, probably not. But he's 6 foot, 195 pounds. He was a 4-star player coming out of the transfer portal, or out of the high school rankings, and was a high 3-star player in the transfer portal. He's got, according to 24/7 Sports, he's got long arms and legs. He's very athletic, a speedster, an athletic type of player that fits right into Ronnie Fauch's type of wide receivers that he looks at, as well as the Bobby Petrino offense. We knew that Sam Pittman and all them were going to be looking for more wide receivers to add into the mix. But apparently he's really good at downfield tracking ability, and he has a deep threat ability to him as well. He's had quite an interesting journey as it is, because he was actually committed in April to the Charlotte 49ers. And then he got added to the Razorbacks, which I'm sure everybody's going to be very understanding of that and not throw it out there, not get crazy, and not start yelling about how terrible it is. I'm sure they'll be very level-headed about it. But he originally committed to North Carolina back in 2018. and signed his letter of intent. He enrolled, entered into the portal in 2021, then played for South Florida until he entered into the portal on April 16th. And now he is officially a Razorback. So, I'm hoping that it really works out. I'm hoping that he ends up being a great addition. Because the wide receiver deal too, folks, like the wide receivers, you can make a lot of that. Like you can make a lot of those players, I'm not saying be better than what they are, but it's easier to work with as long as you got the right system and the right quarterback in place to get them the ball. So I like that addition. But also, it's great to see that there has been another addition to the defensive line. They've been trying to add some depth there too and trying to make that work for Arkansas, which you can never have too many D linemen in the SEC. You always need some dudes. You need some athleticism there too. But at least for Arkansas being able to get a transfer, this one from BYU as Danny Saley. Why does everyone have to have tough names for me? It's almost like they make it on purpose to make it tough. But he's 6'3", 355 pounds. He's a large mamma jamma. He made his decision today and was apparently he had a 2-day official visit with Sam Pittman. And he's also originally from Topeka, Kansas. So how about this? He's good friends with the Tyrell Reed player who committed from Hutchinson Community College, where he was heavily recruited. He signed with BYU in December of 2023, but he entered into the portal on April 30th. Received offers from Arizona and Houston, and Razorback stepped in and got him on a visit. He's going to have 2 years of eligibility remaining and will be officially joining the Hogs later this month. So it's SEC football, he says. He's really excited about that. He was a 3-star player, junior college prospect. Played 2 seasons at Hutchinson Community College. In 2023, he had 21 tackles, 4 sacks, and 7.5 tackles for loss. And he was named to the 2023 Jayhawk Conference first team. So some of you, again, are going to like bring this up and be like, oh, wow, great. He's got a couple of players there. He's like, who cares? He's got a couple of offers there. They're not any good or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right attitude to have. I don't think that's the right attitude to have. You need to have the attitude of like, okay, this player, can he be a junior college player that ends up being a starter and playing in the NFL? Maybe. You hope so. But how many times have we seen junior college players come to the University of Arkansas in football, mind you, not even just out of the transfer portal, but from other schools, but coming in from junior college and make an impact of sorts? I think it happens fairly often. All the JUCO players that I think off the top of my head, I think about an Anthony Leon. You remember him? Or Martrell Spate. Or Rudell Krim was another great one. Junior college players have, in a lot of cases, made differences and are really talented. So keep adding to the depth in that perspective. I believe also, for those of you who were asking about how many scholarships that Arkansas has left, I believe Arkansas is getting down. I think they have 6. They had 9. I have to check a few weeks ago. I'll double check on that, but I think it's 5 or 6 scholarships left, maybe. So they're still going to be hitting that in that portal and still trying to find ways to get guys out there. But again, I'm looking at it as adding depth. People are looking at the commitments and saying like, oh, the football program must be out of NIL. No, they're not out of NIL. It's not as just simple as that. There's a lot more that goes into it. Just telling you. But that's your Arkansas update brought to you by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. I guess I should have brought this up too as part of your Arkansas update. My apologies. But kind of had some disappointing news from the baseball side of things. Colin Fisher, who we know is a freshman pitcher who had played a lot for Arkansas this week, especially in the midweeks. Apparently, he is going to have season-ending surgery to repair a torn UCL. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. And Van Horn even said that it's not Tommy John. So for those of you who are wondering. But he did say they're going to be done for the year. Don't know when, if he's going to get what's called an internal brace, which means it's not Tommy John. But he says that it's also a little bit of an issue and it's a lot less recovery time. We're hoping that's the case. So Colin Fisher will not be playing again this season for the Razorback baseball team. Hate to see that. But I guess that's kind of the way it goes sometimes with baseball players and trying to get healthy. Because you need them all healthy. You need all the pitchers you can get. You need all the healthiness you can get from the pitching staff. You got to make that work. That's what's most important. So Let's see. Also, Mitchell says, I hope sometime we get back on the bandwagon for football. No, right now it's hard with the basketball. But this basketball thing is the hottest thing going on right now. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think, personally, for Razorback basketball, it's just because it's not complete yet. The roster's not complete, so there's still a lot of work to be done on that. And it could get better and more players that you want to see added. I think all those into the mix is kind of set it aside. But once the roster is completely filled, once you have a full roster and you're able to see exactly what the team is officially, it's going to die down. Basketball and the craziness is going to die down, and then it's going to switch over to football. Baseball's still there in the mix too, so don't let me overlook them. Like, baseball's for sure in the mix still. But I believe that football will get revved up in the summertime and when people get excited, and then people start talking themselves in, like I will, that this team's going to be elite and better. But all kidding aside, I do believe this football team is going to be improved. How improved? It's up to debate, but they're going to be better than 4-8. I just almost feel bad of everybody kind of just making, I won't say making fun of it, but just not caring about football right now. Still think it's one of the number one sports, if not the number one sport in Razorback land. One that people pay attention to the most. But it's just hard to find reasons to be excited. Winning makes you excited. Winning can make everything better. And it will make everything better. As long as they win. But that's the key. Getting to a point to where they're winning consistently, that's what's going to excite everybody. And all the fun stuff that they have going on with it too. So, either way. Let's see. There was another chat in the chat that I wanted to bring up. Oh, from Porkenstein says, football is coming back until the NCAA conferences and courts decide what's it going to do in the future. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know how that's all going to work out. I don't even know how to keep up with it. Football will be back once SEC Media Day starts in mid-July. I think once that happens, people will be back on it. I think once people start seeing, okay, we got this guy, we got this offense is going to look good. But then I say that, and as soon as Arkansas gets picked to finish 15th in the SEC next year, it's not exactly going to inspire a lot of hope. But that's okay. Who cares what the preseason media says? We've never been wrong, right? Never been wrong. But my thing about football, though, are you adding in a bunch of players that are just going to be game changers, making it to where they're going to be showstoppers, box office? Like, are you adding in those guys out of the transfer portal right now? No. Have you added any players that just got you hyped out of the transfer portal right now? No, to be honest. Doesn't mean that they're not going to be good. Just it doesn't have the pop and pizzazz. But as I've said before, a lot of it has to do with just coming off of a bad year. Arkansas came off that 9-win season a few years ago. Who did they get out of the transfer portal? They got a guy named Drew Sanders from Alabama. They got a guy like Landon Jackson from LSU, Dwight McLaughlin from LSU, Jaden Hazelwood from Oklahoma. Like, they got all these big-time players. Was it because of NIL? Was it because? Probably so, but also it had something to do with winning. Winning helps. It helps a lot. And Arkansas just didn't win this past season, so you're not going to get the big-time players. And programs that did win this past season, they're getting some big-time players. But I believe that with Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator, I believe there's going to be reasons to be excited. I believe that they're going to be better. They're going to be more competitive. I think they're going to have better decision-making. I think that they're going to be improved overall. And when that happens, you're going to start seeing people buying into them a lot more too. If this team is going to make an improvement, it's going to start in that game 2 of the season against Oklahoma State. Like 100%. That's the game. That's the game. If Arkansas wins that game against Oklahoma State, I'll go on a limb. You say it's a limb. I'll say it right now. If Arkansas beats Oklahoma State this year at football, they will go at minimum 7-5. At minimum, if they beat Oklahoma State game 2. If they lose game 2 to Oklahoma State on the road, we're looking at best case scenario, probably 5-7, 6-6. That's how confident I am. Because you beat Oklahoma State, that puts you at 4 wins essentially for your non-conference games. And if you're good enough to go on the road against Oklahoma State and win, I think you're good enough to win 2, maybe 3 SEC games. Mississippi State on the road is a crapshoot. I have no idea how good they're going to be. A&M's another team. It's like, yeah, they got all this stuff, and you haven't beaten them often, but how good are they going to be? How good is Auburn going to be? I know they crushed you last year, but I mean, are they going to be that much better? Are they going to be that much more improved from a year ago? And that's just to name a few. And those are just your road games. Those are your true road games that you're going to have. And I guess Missouri is the other one, which, you know, glad that they're doing. I'm glad that they're feeling themselves so much. Let's see if they can make it 2 in a row and having actually decent seasons. Tennessee can score a lot, but they're not perfect. They're not unbeatable. Shoot, you almost beat LSU last year on the road in Death Valley at night. But the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. So what's that going to look like this year? You've owned Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin at home since he's been there. Texas, I'll see you winning that game. Point is that I think that there are a few games, if you get past Oklahoma State, that you can win in conference and feel good about it. But if you lose that game, shoe buddy, we ain't looking good. It ain't looking too bright. But we'll have to wait and see. I know we'll get to more of your chats and phone calls, folks. In fact, I know we got somebody on the line right now, which we'll get to here in just a second. I promise, because some of you have been wondering about the phone calls. And yes, we've had the video chat. I don't even know if anybody's going to jump on the video chat for this today. So if nobody jumps on, that's fine. If y'all don't want to do that, I'm just offering it as an option, is all I'm saying. Just offering it as an option. But I got to tell you, folks, about Signature Bank, one of our great partners here at Natty State Sports, because they are banking redefined. It's a privately held boutique bank that's redefining the banking experience in our region. And they blend the warmth of familiarity as well as a community bank with the sophistication of a commercial bank and the expertise of a private banking to deliver unmatched levels of service. When you talk about banking, you want to be able to make sure that your money is in a place that's very safe and very secure. And whether it's personal or business, Signature Bank helps you out. They are community focused right here in the heart of Arkansas, in the heart of Fayetteville, where they started. And they want to make sure that every single time that someone walks into their building at Signature Bank, they're going to make you feel welcome. And you make you feel good that where you're investing into them as much as they are investing into you. So check out all the great things that they have to offer. You can check out their website at signature.bank. That's www.signature.bank. You can also check out them in store and into their bank themselves, as they have locations all across the Northwest Arkansas area as well as the state of Arkansas. But no matter what it is, when it comes to your banking, do it with Signature Bank, the official bank of Natty State Sports. We'll take a break. We'll get to your phone calls. So hang on, Heartbroken Hog. We'll get to you, as well as a lot more coming up next on the John Nabors Show, so stay with us.
We not done yet either, so don't be satisfied because we not done.
Hey John, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrats. I added 2-parter if that's okay. You mentioned Arkansas. Eric.
Why do you always talk about Arkansas, but go ahead.
Well, why do you always talk about Kentucky?
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you today. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic. Yes, sir.
You know, and I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys. I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
Big Red, so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potato. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas, as we have been having a great Monday reaction show to everything that's happening in the sports world for Arkansas, at least. Hard to keep up with, but Razorback baseball in the news, Razorback football in the news, Razorback basketball in the news, as you know, from that particular deal that we had just put up there with... I'm going to say it right. I want to make sure I get it right every single time. ADOU, THIERO. Man, again, I want to get John George on my show just to talk to him about the pronunciation of a lot of these players and how difficult it's going to be. That would be a fun little topic. Line, if we can see if that's... I think he was on the line. See if I can get to connect with him about it. Waiting and seeing on that. So looks like we had a little bit drop on the internet side of things. Getting back to it, though. Apparently there's a lot going on in the side of things for a lot of you Razorback fans for all intents and purposes, though. See, we'll work on that. We'll work to get into that point, so... let's see. Is there something else I was going to bring up? A few people in the chat too. Cody Buckner says, "I think Sam Pittman might be hitting up Mystic Dan for some NIL money." Hey, maybe that'll happen. Wouldn't that be something? Get that guy on for that too. Let's see. Let's try. Let's get Jacob on here too. For some reason, it's Heartbroken Hog stuff. But let's get Jacob. What's going on, Jacob?
Hey, how's it going, John?
Pretty good, man. But yourself?
Oh, I'm making it. Hey, I got a quick question, and it pertains to Bobby Petrino.
I love it. Hit me with it.
Hey, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I'm for the Bobby Petrino head coach train, but he made a good point, and he's thinking that. Is it better that Bobby Petrino stay offensive coordinator? Does that suit him better? And does it suit Sam better staying head coach and not worrying about the offense? Is that better for Arkansas?
I think so, because I think that with what Petrino has gotten to the point in his career where I think he's fine being an offensive coordinator. And I think he could be really great at it. Like, it's not the days of, just being hard-nosed, and he was a great coach and everything, don't get me wrong, but being a head coach and nowadays in college football with the NIL and transfer portal, it requires a certain type of personality, and I don't think Petrino fits that. However, I think it does fit with the way that he just can coach offense. He doesn't have to worry about dealing with players and what they want for NIL or dealing with all the press conferences, all the, going to do coaches shows. None of that. He is literally just offense. This is all you do. And I think it's better suited for him. And this is why I truly believe the relationship with Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino will work, is because Pittman is not the type where he's just like, I want it done this way, or this offense, and I'm going to overrule you. Like, there may be some things they discuss, but he has truly handed the keys over to Bobby Petrino to do the offense. And when you do something like that, that's what's going to make it a lot more successful. Don't get in the way. Don't put yourself in between or try to do things that are screw it up. Simply be like, hey, coach, here's the keys. You drive because you're great at it. We know you're great at it. Don't worry about me. I'll be over here if you need me. But this is your offense. Do as you please. That right there to me gives me the hope and feeling that it is going to work out. It's just actually got to be seen. But I think that it has all the potential in the world, though.
Absolutely. And like you look back at what Florida, or I'm sorry, not Florida, but what Jimbo did last year at Texas A&M, you get two strong-headed offense coordinators that are butting heads constantly and driving Petrino nuts. And just like you said, Pittman's a smart guy, and he gives the keys over to one of the best offense coordinators in the country. So I'm hopeful for the season, man. If we go over 500, I'm gonna count it as a win, because Pittman's doing his thing. It'll be, is it his last year? And then you got Bobby Petrino coming back for the first time. He can do some building, give him another year. So I think anything over 500, 7-5, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as long as you get to postseason play and make improvements, if you get to 7-5, that'll be a good year. I'm not going to start saying, hang the banner, but all things considered, if you get to 7-5, that's a good year. 8 wins would be a phenomenal year. Anything above that, it's just like, I think I'm dreaming. Pinch me, I'm dreaming type thing. So get the postseason. That's what you got to do. And I think Arkansas has the ability to do that. But, yeah, if you don't make it a bowl game, you don't make a postseason, you're just going to have to blow this thing up and try again.
Yep, exactly. I agree. Well, hey, man, thanks for having me on. I sure appreciate it. Love the show.
Hey, appreciate you, Jacob. Thanks for calling in, man, as always. Appreciate all of our callers, too. And I'm sorry, Heartbroken Hog, like, for some reason, your call is not wanting to come through, so maybe hang up and try again if you're out there. Because that's weird. I never had a problem with it before, but yeah. So try calling back again. We'll try to make that work. Let's see. We're gonna do the video thing. Yes, don't worry. We're gonna if there's people out there, we're gonna do some video stuff for you where you can jump in instead of just calling in. You can actually be videoed. I'm sure it's gonna go perfectly fine with zero problems whatsoever. I'm sure. But also with the addition too, I wanted to relay this message. With the addition of ADOU THIERO, according to 24/7 Sports, Arkansas now officially has the #1 transfer portal class in the country. #1. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Arkansas has a #2 recruiting class. Let me double check. Stand by, because I want to make sure I get that part of it right. Because people are already going to let me hear about it. No, okay, so no, that's not the case. So Arkansas has, according to 24/7 Sports, Arkansas has the #6 recruiting class in the country with 3 5-stars, and they have the #1 transfer portal class. Not bad. Not bad. They're not passing up Duke. Duke has 6 commitments, and 5 of them are 5-stars, so they're not passing them up. Alabama's got 2 5-stars, 2 4-stars. Same with Arizona. How crazy is Rutgers? Rutgers has the #4 recruiting class in the country. Rutgers. 2 5-stars and a 4-star and 2 3-stars. Missouri comes in at #5 with 5 4-stars. I'm just telling you right now, I don't buy that. I don't buy them at all. You don't go, I'm sorry. Dennis Gates may be a nice guy and everything, but you don't go 0-18 in conference play and then come back and be awesome. You just don't do that. So, yeah, I'll take it where it's at right now. All right, let's try this again, see if we can do this. All right, Heartbroken Hog, let's try it again. What's up, man?
What is up, John? How are you doing, man?
Man, I am rolling. How about yourself?
Well, people keep asking me, Heartbroken Hog, have you thought about changing your username to something more positive? With, baseball doing well and Coach Cal building a super team, and I always tell them, well, we got to wait and see what happens week 2 at Oklahoma State, because that is one of the biggest games all year long for momentum, for everything going into the start of the season. It's your first real opponent. I mean, if we go into that game and get trounced, everyone is going to be right back at Sam Pittman's throat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's what's kind of the unfortunate thing about it. But also, when you're going into year 5, like I'm a Sam Pittman fan. I want him to succeed. I really do. But when you're going into year 5 of your tenure at Arkansas or anywhere, and going into that year, you've had 9 wins, 7 wins, 4 wins. Like, it is up to you as the coach to provide the hope and the faith and the excitement. I think Pittman did a good thing in hiring Petrino. I think that was a great move. I think he did a good thing of getting rid of Cody Kennedy and bringing in Eric Mateos. I think that was a great move. I think that even in some capacities, some of the guys that he's added in, whether it's recruiting or from the transfer portal, have been really nice. But you're the one that's going to have to inspire the hope. And by you beating Oklahoma State in week 2, that's going to provide some hope. That's going to provide some people giving some good feelings and some good momentum. But if you lose game 2, if you go down to Little Rock and against UAPB to start the season, you don't look great, and then you go on the road to Oklahoma State and look totally trash, then people are going to be jumping off as fast as you can say Bob's your uncle, and people are going to be just putting out the pitchfork saying, bring Petrino on as head coach and tell Pittman to hit the brakes. Like, that's unfortunate, but that's kind of what happens when you've had the run that Sam Pittman has had.
And really, Petrino was the perfect guy to bring in for Pittman because he's going to be an even better version of Barry Odom, who was a former head coach that Pittman could lean on for a lot of those big in-game decisions that he seems to kind of struggle with, like when to use timeouts and things of that nature. And Petrino is never going to have any issues like that.
Well, that's what I'm hopeful for, is the small things, the intangibles, the organization, the game planning, like all of that. I think Barry Odom missing out on him, or him not being coach anymore, really hurt Pittman a lot more than maybe anticipated, having a former head coach on staff. And I know Dan Enos technically was a former head coach, but he wasn't that great of one, and I think it was just all bad either way. But Petrino being there, I think, is as good of a guy to lean in on when it comes to some of those head coaching things. And so, yeah, I believe that, again, not trying to be insulting, just trying to be real. If Sam Pittman just lets Petrino do Petrino things and lets him have a lot more say in everything, and Pittman's just there kind of managing it all, I think that there is absolutely no reason to believe that this team won't be vastly improved from a year ago.
Absolutely agree, John. Well, thanks for having me on. You have a great day, man.
Hey, you as well. We appreciate you, Heartbreak Hog. And don't change the name. Don't ever change the name. Stick with that. That's a good one because it makes sense, because we're always heartbroken as Hog fans. Let's go back to the phone line. I think it's Unbiased Brim coming on. What's up, Unbiased Brim?
Good afternoon, my neighbor. How art thou today?
Thou art well. I can tell you that. That art well. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Nice addition. Was anticipating this coming. So I'm going to go and speak a little football with you. Now, last year, going into the last 2 games, I personally felt we needed to win those games to have momentum to go in the season to even have a chance with Sam Pittman as the head coach. Just being honest. Just what I saw. Not only we lose by a substantial margin. There's no confidence in altogether. So when I look at the Petrino hire, I see it as a Hail Mary to at least get enough confidence within the fan base to stick out and hope that we have a good season this year. Petrino's an excellent coach. He provides a lot. But, the key word is but. Most of the fan base would probably agree with me that we're waiting and seeing. We're not jumping out the window. We're not getting too hot or too cold. But I think, in the end, in conclusion, if we say 7-5 is a good season, we have to understand that we're a basketball school at this point right now, and we have to, accept that excellence right now is for basketball. We hope to be good in football someday, and I hope Pittman and them can do the job this year. But the BUT is large letters. I have to say but.
Yeah, Well, let me add this into it, unbiased, because I agree with you, but I also think it's about how, like your current situation. For instance, when Arkansas went 9-4 in 2021, and then the next season we know who they were returning and everything. I would have made the argument that the expectation was, after going an 8-4 regular season, to do that, if not more, because of what you had coming back.
Yeah, looking at 9-3.
Yeah, that's what the feeling was, and it didn't happen. And so I just feel like sometimes it's in the moment of, right now, a 7-5 year might be a good season, decent enough season, whatever it is, but because it's all because you're coming off a 4-8 year. If you were coming off of a bigger year, then maybe the expectations there, maybe you grow a little bit, because for even the sake of like looking at a team like Missouri, who had losing seasons for like 4 straight years, like I'm sure that going into their year, they're probably like, hey, we would have been happy, getting a 7-5 or 8-4. Instead, they won 10 games. And so I think it's just always about the current moment and what you're coming off of, like where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going. For Arkansas, right now it's a basketball school, there's no doubt, but just say craziness happens where they have a phenomenal year this year in football. Like say if they go 9-3, not predicting it, but then suddenly things change and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is great. Keep Pittman, get Petrino's awesome, keep the staff. Like it changes everybody's mind. It's just about what have you done for me lately? And lately football has been very disappointing, plain and simple.
So I'm going to give you a poll. This is an individual John Nabors poll.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready for it.
Confidence level and percentage from 1 to 100. Arkansas football season, 9-3.
Confidence level, gosh.
Percentage from 0 to 100. Come on.
I would say, 3% confidence that happens.
Okay, 8-4. 8-4.
I raised that one to 20% for 8-4.
Okay, 7-5.
I'll say 40% for that.
So right now, to have a winning season is still lower than 50% odds. Okay, 6-6.
Yeah, 6-6. I'm going to put it above 50% for 6-6 because I still think that's what they do. But I'll say 60% they go 6-6. Confidence.
Okay. So that's where we hit our brain. Everything else you feel confident more because you will definitely hit 5-7. So 6-6 is your bottom level for expectations for the team.
100%. Anything less than that, the season is considered a massive disappointment and failure.
Okay. And see, 7-5 you would consider a successful season?
Yeah, well, I'd say it's a good season. I mean, success is always in the eye of the beholder.
If we don't get blown out in any games.
Yeah, like, because,
if we don't get blown out in any games, I'll accept it.
Yeah, because, like, for instance, 7-5, not all 7-5 is created equal. Like, say if you go 7-5, but, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, like, just blew the doors off of you and you just beat some bad teams, then, I mean, still 7-5 at the end of the day, but it's a lot different than going 7-5, but then you only lost to Texas by a field goal. You lost to, LSU by, the refs screwing you over. Like it's all different and how it goes. I just what I want, honestly, is, again, I've talked about going 6-6 or 7-5. If you can go 7-5 and make the 5 losses at least interesting, or the majority of them interesting, where in the fourth quarter going into those games it was still in doubt, instead of you just getting the doors blown off of you. And if you're also better at home, because you were terrible at home last year, like that to me goes hand in hand. Like, yeah, it's about the numbers. It's about wins and losses 100%, but it's also about how you look and how you handle those losses that you're inevitably going to have. Are you competitive? Are you in it? Are you playing well? Or is it just you getting blown out and barely beating some bad teams?
All right, so Arkansas World, 7-5, no blowout losses, especially at home. That's if you do worse than that, I'm sorry. If you do better than that, we'll clap.
That's how I feel
Fair?
too. That's how I feel.
Okay. Now, basketball-wise, I set my expectation. You already gave me yours. I said it. I'm going to set it again. I tweeted it. This is the bare minimum for me for right now for what I see in this basketball team, and it can be subject to change. 23 wins, top 4 in the SEC, Sweet 16 berth. On each one of those categories, that's the worst I'm looking at for the team.
Yeah.
Just right now.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I've felt like how the roster's shaping out, and knowing it's Sean Calipari. I know the NCAA tournament's crazy, and you're going to hear from Kentucky fans bringing up, oh, man, they're not any good. Like, okay, good luck giving a first-round exit. Yeah, like all this. It's like, okay, well.
But they forget about the first 10 years, though.
Yeah.
They forget about the first 10 years.
Yeah. It is. So, to me, if they get to the point to where they're a top – I feel like it's this. You have to be a top 4 – I expect to be a top 4 team in the SEC, and, you know, whatever you want to play it out, if you want to put a wins and losses, but – if you can be a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament and you make it to the Sweet 16, I'll at least consider the year as, okay, you know, that was because that means you had probably 12 wins in SEC play, maybe more. And you had,
I think it's 12 is the worst usually in the top 4.
Yeah. And that's honestly been what Calipari's average has been in SEC scheduling, has been winning 75% of his games. So, that would be on par for that. And if you make it to the Sweet 16, I want to go further, and I think you'll have the talent to go further, but I think everybody has to understand it's a NCAA tournament. It's March Madness. It's madness for a reason. You never know. But I think, yeah, if you do that, it'll at least be considered a good year. I'll be happy with it, and if you got some momentum. But, yeah, if you don't do either one of those things, it's going to be kind of a bummer, just to be honest.
I agree. Well, I appreciate your time, my brother. I probably had something else in my head, but I forgot what it was, so I'm gonna leave it alone and maybe catch it for the next time.
Well, we'll be on it. We'll be on it again tomorrow. But we always appreciate hearing from you, Unbiased Brim. Have a good one, my man.
You too.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, people's expectations. If you want to set it at wins and losses, that's fine. If you want to set it at, you know, how far you make it into the tournament, that's fine. Like, there's so many ways you can just look at it and set it and be like, okay, this is everyone's going to be different. But I think everybody can get on board with the understanding of the NCAA tournament and how crazy it is. Getting to the Sweet 16 is a very big deal. Getting to the second weekend is a very big deal. It's obviously a bigger deal if you go to the Final Four. It's a bigger deal if you go to the Elite Eight. It's a bigger deal when you do that. But I'm just saying that there are plenty of reasons to believe with what Calipari has assembled here at Arkansas that there's going to be success coming from it, that's going to be stemming from it, and I think it's all going to be okay. That's all I'm saying. It's all going to be okay. But great calls. Appreciate everybody calling in. It's been awesome. It's been awesome to hear from you and to hear all the nice things that you have to say about what we got going on here and talking about Razorback sports, because it's all very much a, almost called a slow time, because there are things going on, but it's an interesting time nonetheless. It's an interesting time. And we'll talk more about your comments and phone calls, and we'll get to some other different stories from the sports world, especially with Arkansas. I want to bring up some of the women's basketball too, but folks, we're brought to you by Superior Contracting and Development here in Arkansas. I know that this time of year, a lot of you are going to be looking to making renovations and additions and changing some things when it comes to your home. Well, make sure you have the best and most qualified people to handle it. It's the licensed residential and commercial contractors that are specializing in home building and remodeling. It's all going to be Superior Contracting and Development. They handle everything from fencing to drainage, additions and remodeling of your existing structure, all the way up to land development and ground-up construction. They're going to help you out for all of your interior and exterior needs. If you want to build a pool, if you want to build a fence, you want to have any sort of thing happening outside or inside of your home, Superior Contracting and Development is the place to go. So you got to check them out today. You can call at 501-453-3053. That's 501-453-3053. You'll get a consultation from them, and you'll be able to see what you're looking at, and they'll be able to help you out as they service all four corners of the state of Arkansas. You can also check out their website at superiorarc.com. That's superiorark.com. But no matter what it is, when it comes to interior and exterior construction, do it with Superior Contracting and Development out of Alonia at 501-453-3053. We'll take our break. Final break, I guess, technically. Come back. We'll get to more of your phone calls and messages here on the John Nabors Show, so stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied because we not done.
Hey John, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat. I added two-parter if that's okay. You mentioned Arkansas. Eric,
Why do you always talk about Arkansas? But go ahead.
well, why do you always talk about Kentucky?
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you, Dwayne. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
I'm so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Well, stick my dick in the mashed potato. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
Welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm going to try this out, folks. I'm going to try it out. I don't know how it's going to go. This may go miserable, but that's why I was going to do it in the final segment of the show. But if you go to my Twitter account, @JohnNaborsShow, I'm putting out the link if you want to get on the video side of things and have your face and your voice seen here on the show. Again, it could be a disaster, but you won't know until you try. So I just went ahead and tweeted out the link just now. You're going to get into the green room. Here's the thing. It's going to ask you for your name. Make sure that you got in a place that's got decent signal, that you can be heard. And, oh, gosh, I just don't know how it's going to go. I have no idea. It could be miserable. It could be terrible. Or it could be really great and funny. Maybe we can all laugh together. Now that would be something. That would be something. But anyways, we'll make it work. It'll be fine. Totally fine. Let's see. A few other no. Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up, which is kind of crazy when you think about this name got brought up to me when I saw the news release of it. So I know we don't talk a whole lot about women's basketball at this point in time. A lot of people are not very happy with Mike Nabors and the job he's done. But press release came out that Arkansas women's basketball coach Mike Nabors announced the hiring of assistant coach Nick Bradford. He's now a part of the coaching staff. Those of you who may not remember, Nick Bradford was a local kid here from Fayetteville. Went to Fayetteville High School. I believe he graduated in 96, 97, somewhere in there. Was a highly regarded, highly recruited player, but ended up going to Kansas, playing for Roy Williams, I believe. Either way, a guy that's been pretty well known in the Northwest Arkansas area. But he's had a lot of experience. And Coach Nabors said, building a staff and managing a roster has always been important, but in 2024, it's become vital. With today's addition of Nick Bradford, we've added a Fayetteville native that has built his reputation, helped growing women's basketball in the area and in the region. His grassroots experience led to his stint with Wichita State women's basketball, and he's built relationships every step of the way. So Nick Bradford also said, I'm truly honored to be a part of Mike Nabors' staff. Learn from a coach who's been to a Final Four. I look forward to helping these young ladies on and off the court. Being from Fayetteville, I definitely have a sense of pride to do what's best for the women's basketball program at Arkansas and continue to help Coach Nabors build his program and appreciate this opportunity. So, yeah, he's going to be joining the staff. He's been assistant head coach of Terry Nooner's staff at Wichita State the past year. Prior to that, he was the associate head boys coach at Fayetteville High School. Remember for that for 4 seasons. And also he was the head coach of the 2019 Girls Junior NBA Global Championship presented by Commissioner Adam Silver. So, but yeah, that was kind of a cool element. I thought that was a really cool thing for him to be on board with and to really just anytime you can get local guys in there, I think it's always important. It's always helpful if you can make that happen. And it's probably easier said than done, but I think that's a good thing for Arkansas, a good thing for women's basketball program. So we'll see how it plays out. They got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do if that's the case. All right. Let's see. Okay, I got intern Tyler in here. Intern Tyler, what are you doing in here? I
was just scrolling Twitter and saw your latest thing. I was like, what the hell is this? And I wanted to see what was going on.
Yeah, so what do you think? Is this about as great, as important as you hope and thought it would be?
I figured this is going to be a great addition, and I'm really excited to see what the fans do with this.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm glad at least you were able to be my guinea pig in testing this thing out and making sure that it works. I don't know if anybody's even going to want to join, especially today, because it is a new thing to them. But I see now that it works, that you were able to pop in, that you actually can hear what you're saying, and that I'm sure it's going to go perfectly fine with no problems whatsoever to make it work. So
None whatsoever. I'm excited I was able to help you out and make sure that it worked.
Yeah, I was going to have somebody else do it, but they're a little preoccupied right now. So
yeah.
The fact that now we know. So good deal. Well, cool. So, this is our intern, Tyler, by the way, folks. He's done some intern podcasting with us and as a student at the University of Arkansas. So he's done some good work and some good stuff, and he's going to have his podcast coming out later this week too. So be on the lookout. But yeah, appreciate you, Tyler. Thank you for letting me know that it is a fully functioning type of setting, and we can move forward with it at least from the get-go. So
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, me too. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, of course.
So there you have it. Tyler joining us. Now we know. Good stuff. Can't believe it's I don't know why it's taking me this long to kind of figure that part of it out, to be honest. But it's good to know that that's that part of it's going to work. It's not going to be a disaster at all. Okay. So sorry about that. I had a bad echo again, apparently. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to fix that for next time. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. People were upset. Okay, now again, this is why we do it, so we know. It's actually a setting that I actually have to have turned off. And I hadn't even written down because I'm an idiot. I had it written down I was going to turn it off, and I didn't turn it off. So we're going to be good from here. Good moving forward. All right. Everyone's like, Nabors is doing terrible. Not me. Mike Nabors. I might be doing terrible too. But yes. There's something else that I was going to bring up with all of y'all that was thrown to me. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So we were talking about football. I thought it was interesting. So Matt Moscone, a good friend of mine covers everything for LSU down in Baton Rouge. He put out a tweet of just like the really early betting lines for LSU. And I saw that at right now, LSU would be 8-point favorites over Arkansas in Fayetteville this season. 8 points. Y'all taking that? I don't know. It's actually, when it comes to the spreads for LSU, they're 6-point favorites over USC. Okay, here's what's crazy. They get him. I know it's at home, but they're 2.5-point favorites over Ole Miss. I don't know about that. But on the road against Texas A&M, they're 3-point underdogs. They're 1-point favorites against Alabama at home. They're 5-point favorites against Oklahoma at home. They're 5.5-point favorites over Florida. So I don't know. It's quite an interesting thing. I think at this point in time right now, I guess I'd probably go with LSU. But then the more I look at it, it's like, I don't know how good LSU is going to be next year. Not to say that they're going to be bad and that Arkansas is going to win. Just 8 points is a lot of points. And last time I checked, they're not going to have Jaden Daniels on the staff. He's not going to be a part of it. So, anyways. All right, got a few other stories to get into before we close up shop. Again, if you guys want to get in on the video chat, just go to my Twitter, John Nabors Show. Check out the link there. Because I don't think I can do links in the chat. I don't think that's how that works. You do some more research on it. I'm halfway afraid to get people from the Natty State Sports Discord in here. The place is wild. If you haven't joined that, you know what kind of reminds me of? Do you guys, if anybody remembers old woopig.net? I know I'm showing my age here. Like the message boards of woopig.net. I love that thing. It was so funny. Just unfiltered, say whatever you want, get after it. That's something. That's kind of what it reminds me of. That kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, I know. There was echo in the past one. I'm sorry. All right? I got it fixed now. It's fixed. It was just a simple little thing. Well, first off, I'm going to be getting headphones anyways. We'll have some news about some stuff coming out tomorrow too. But I'm saying, like, there was just some stuff that we needed to fix. That was all it was. That's all it was. All right. Woopig is gone forever, yeah. I can't. No, it's not gone forever. I guess well, woopig.net is gone forever, yes. But rest in pieces. Rip in pieces. That was the case. Let's see. Again, remind everybody that we're going to be out at Tin Roof again Thursday. So come on out and see us. And I'm just going to be honest about it. If you come out, and if you're looking to go to the baseball game this weekend, one of the games, you might want to be there. Just saying. But want to remind everybody of that. Like, we're really excited about our partnership with Tin Roof. Had a great show there last Thursday, and it's an awesome spot. Live music is so good. Like, man, the band that they had this past weekend was awesome. So, but yeah, come on out. We're going to have some student athletes that are joining us there too. So be on the lookout for it. Dalton says, the games we win this year will be because of Taylor Green. Absolutely believe in that, yeah. Taylor Green's going to be a major factor. Major factor. Also, I know we do the Pot at the Palace, and we have Bombastic. And I kind of wanted to do this today. Maybe not. Like, this was my goal. I got caught up with it. But did y'all see? I wish I could play it. But did y'all see the Tom Brady roast last night? I haven't watched all of it. I saw some clips. Holy shnikes. That stuff was awesome. Like, I was cracking up. Some of the stuff you couldn't probably get away with and probably say. But some of that was really intense. And I thought about doing something with the video element when people could jump into it, of saying, "Hey, let's see what the worst type of thing you could do." You know what I'm saying? Like the roasting in good faith. It'd have to be in good faith, but see what the worst type of roast you could do. I'm sure this is going to go well. Let's try this again. Oh my goodness, it's SEC Mike.
Hey, buddy.
What is up, my man?
Oh, I didn't know this was supposed to be a roast. My bad. I just clicked the link.
Dude, well, I mean, listen, I'm trying something out that's new, and that I'm sure it's going to be extremely innovative and go really well. But I was trying to, because people are like, hey, you can call in on my show. You can text on my show. But some people wants to get their face out there and see not only about their voice being heard, but also their pretty face being heard. So,
no, honestly, I'm a big, genuine fan of the show. So I just wanted to hop on and support what you're doing. I think this is a hell of an idea. And I do have a legitimate question real quick.
Yeah.
Just curious to know your thoughts this season, Arkansas football. That's really all I care about. But what is a more realistic upset that the Razorbacks can pull off this season at home against Ole Miss, which I know I got Ole Miss. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in college football, but I'm wrong about as often as I'm right. And Lane Kiffin still, to my knowledge, has not won in Fayetteville, or in the season finale against Missouri, which I know your fan base absolutely loves.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about likelihoods for that, it's kind of weird because neither of them make sense at the end of the day of why, like, Arkansas, because that's the thing, like Arkansas and going against Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, they've either blown them out or at least one-handedly at home. But even the games on the road were right here, really close. So none of it makes sense. And then the Missouri games have always just been terrible and weird for Arkansas. So I don't know.
I think if you win one of those, you turn the season around. You know, there's optimism. I think you're making a bowl game. I mean, it's going to take a win like that, I think, for Arkansas to reach the postseason.
Yeah. No, I think you're going to have to, at least with your home games of, what is it, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, and Tennessee, I think you got to at least go 2-2 in those games to feel good about it. Like at Mississippi State, at A&M and Arlington, at Auburn, maybe. Like you could find some ways to win that one. But the last thing you want to do is just you're terrible at home last year. You want to be able to have something at home this year. But yeah, I feel like if I'm going to put money on it right now, just because of the matchup, I feel better about the Ole Miss game because there's something about it. There's just something weird about it where Arkansas does it. But hey, maybe they can win both. Like how crazy? Like imagine they won both of those games.
Well, there's a reason I call him Lane Whiffin, and it's for dropping games like that he really shouldn't. So again, I just wanted to come out here briefly. I don't want to interrupt your show or anything, but thanks for having me. And again, just big fan of what you do.
Hey, appreciate it, Mike. You as well. Follow SEC Mike in the that SEC podcast. Appreciate you, Mike. We'll get you on here soon.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
See you, man. There you go. Look at that. Was there any echo that time, folks? I bet not. I fixed it. See, simple settings. That's all you got to do. Simple little settings. Good. Glad people got involved in that. We'll do that more often. I'll try to put out the link every day for the show. You can just join it that way. It's through our app of StreamYard. So it's pretty easy to use. I think it is, at least. All right. Well, we're getting close. That was a good show, easy show. A lot of calls, a lot of interactions. Is what we want here on the show. So really appreciate you guys coming in and having some fun with it and being very interactive here on the show too. So we appreciate it. Again, we're going to have some news this week dealing with some United States sports stuff. So be on the outlook for that. Something I'm really excited about. Some pretty big changes, but some good changes that are coming. So we'll keep you updated on that. And that'll probably happen tomorrow. And again, see you at Tin Roof on Thursday. That's going to be our next live show on location. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the John Nabors Show. Be sure to like and subscribe to Natty State Sports for all the great things that we have going on all the time. If you're a basketball fan, Pod at the Palace is where it's at. If you're a baseball fan, it's about the Bombastic podcast. But we're going to have a lot of great content continuing to go out here at Natty State Sports. So be sure to subscribe to it. And remember, it's going to be the same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon. We'll see you then, folks. Have a great rest.